All right, so if your vertical line is up and down like this, if it's to the right, if it's on this side of the building, it goes to the right vanishing point, and if it's to the left on this side of the building, it goes to the left vanishing point. So you get to decide how tall you want your windows to be. I'm going to do just kind of like a basic size, and then I'll show you a taller one. So what I like to do is I just start a little bit below the roof, because of course the window isn't going to touch the roof. So I'm going to go ahead and just line up, let's have my windows, the top of my windows start about here. Again, you get to decide. There's no like measurement that I have for this. I just kind of look at it and decide, all right, I'm gonna go a little bit down from the roof. Okay, notice that I am hitting my left vanishing point. I am going to draw the top of my windows like this. And then to draw the bottoms of your windows, you decide how big you want your window to be. If you want the window to take up the entire side of the building, then the bottom of your window is going to be all the way down here, okay? But if you want little rows of windows like, kind of like I have an example here or here, if you want rows like that, then you don't want to make the bottom too far away from the top. So what I'm going to do is line it up here. I'm going to go about this far away. Again, you get to decide. And then I'm going to draw that vanishing point line as well, so that it looks like this. Then with a vertical line, I'm going to connect the top to the bottom and the top to the bottom on the ends. So again, I line up my ruler to the bottom of my paper to make that right angle, to make it perpendicular. And I'm going to connect the top to the bottom here. And then I'm going to connect the top to the bottom here. So again, my ruler is touching the bottom. I'm up, and then I go down, and it looks like that. And you can see I keep on kind of calling these tails. You can see those are still there, so I'm going to go ahead and erase the extra. Now, if you want just one big window like this, then you're done. But most of the time, windows are more square than a big, long rectangle. So what I like to do is the same technique that we used to do kind of the road on the bottom. So I'm going to do a dot here and a dot here. And those are going to be vertical lines going down. And then I'm going to erase in between. Okay, so just like I did with the road. So I just did a little dot here and a little dot here. I'm going to make my window about this big. Okay, like a little square. So on those two dots, I'm going to take it down and draw, once again, two vertical lines and try to get it as good as I can. So we've got one here. I'm going to scoot it over a little bit and do my next one. So it looks like that. Okay, just like we did on the road, the dot, line, line. And then I'm going to erase in between. Again, just like I did on the road. So I erase here at the top in between. And then I erase here, bottom in between. So that's where I start to split up my windows. Okay, now unlike the road, of course, we got smaller and smaller and smaller as we move back. Your windows really don't need to do that unless it's a super long building. Like, for example, I have, let's look at this one. I have this one. This one clearly is going to be bigger in the front and smaller in the back because look at the size of the walls or kind of the sides of the building. So for something like this, then maybe I would do like a big window that's like this long, then a little bit shorter of a window, then a little bit shorter of a window, then a small window. That you could do that. However, I'm not going to require that you do that. I normally just kind of make my windows all the same size. So I did two more dots here. And then once again, I need to line up my ruler to the bottom, make it perpendicular, and then do my line. Okay, and then do it again right next to it. Try your best to make it nice and even. All right, and then I erase in between just like I did with the ground or with the road. And now I have 3 sets of windows here. Okay, now there are ways to like make a window sill and to make things inside of the windows. I'm not going to do that right now because I want us to get the basics down first. So I wouldn't worry about anything else about the windows other than making the squares or the rectangles. Okay, now as I mentioned earlier, if you wanted to make a really big window, let's go to the right side. So once again, I don't have a measurement. I just kind of come off of the roof a little bit to start my window, and then it goes to the vanishing point. So make sure that it's always, always, always going to the vanishing point. We've talked about this a bunch. That is the most important part. Okay, we are going to bring it down like this. Then if you wanted a super big window, let's bring it like down to like here. It is going to also go to the vanishing point. And you're going to go across like this. Okay? And then once again with a vertical line on each side, you are going to connect the two to each other. So I'm going to try to line this up the best that I can. Vertical line down. Other side. Lining up my ruler. Vertical line down. And then once again, erasing any of those like extra kind of tails. Now you might notice this looks a little bit wonky. I think I didn't quite get my ruler lined up to the bottom of my paper. So if you don't do that correctly, it's going to look not as straight. So that's why I think it's super, super important to really focus on getting your ruler to line up to the bottom of your paper so that your lines do not look crooked. So you can see that I kind of messed that one up, so I'm going to try it again. And it could be this, yeah, see that looks much better. Okay, so if you want a big window, you'll do something like that. If you want small windows, you'll do something like that. With doors, it's honestly even easier than that. So if a door is on this side, once again, it's going to the left. If a door is on this side, once again, it's going to the right. Okay, really all you need to do with the doors is do a top line because your bottom line of the door is the bottom of the building. So that's what makes the doors a little bit easier than the windows, because on the windows, you need to do the top and the bottom. Okay, but on the doors, you only need to do the top because the bottom of the door is the bottom of the building. So once again, you can decide how big you want your door to be. So I'm going to just make it like here. And then I'm going to just take my ruler and do vertical lines down to the bottom of my building. So once again, try to line that ruler up nicely. I'm having a little bit of a hard time doing that today, apparently. All right, and then I'm going to go on this side and do the same. And again, I'm trying to line my ruler up nicely. And it comes down like that. So that's how you would do a door on the right. If you were to do it on the left, of course, or I'm sorry, that was on the left. If you were to do it on the right, you would do the same thing. Maybe let's make like a garage door. So maybe like this is where I park my car. So I'm gonna make a nice long line like this. And then I am going to do my vertical lines down. And I'm going kind of quickly right now, so my lines might not be perfect. For you all, I want you to really take your time. I'm just going a little fast so that we can get through everything. Okay, so maybe that's like a garage door. Maybe my garage door wants to have like stripes on it. I would then line up each stripe to the vertical or to the vanishing point like this, line it up, go across. So everything needs to go to the vanishing point always, even if it's like decorative like this. Okay, and then maybe that's like my garage door. So maybe I want to do like a little circle on here for a handle. You can see this is the door on the left and this is the garage door on the right. Okay? So that's how you would do windows, that's how you would do doors. When I do the names of things, I normally try to make a sign, which means I make a rectangle. So you can do this in one of two different ways. One is you can just make a rectangle similar to what we just did. Let's say I want to do my sign on this side of the building. Of course, this is going to go to the right. So I'm going to draw a line on the top, line on the bottom, almost like I'm making a window. So I'm going to do this, and you can see that because this window, or excuse me, because this building is taller, my lines are a little bit more diagonal. Okay, so I do the top of the sign, then I go to my vanishing point and I do the bottom of my sign like this. And then, of course, we do our vertical lines up and down, like this and like this. And then get rid of the tails. Now, if I wanted to be super, super, super picky, I would tell you to make every single letter go to the vanishing point by measuring it out. But I really don't think for what we're doing that's necessary. So let's say you're doing like Chili's, like I would just go in then with like black letters and have it touch the top and touch the bottom. So you're going like this. Now, technically, like the inside of the H of Chili's would go to the vanishing point. So for example, that was a little crooked. So I'm gonna go like this. Like this line here for the H technically should go to the vanishing point, so kind of watch what I do here. I'm going to go from this line over like this, and then down. I'll make the other part of the H, and then the middle of the H also should go to the vanishing point. So like anything that has a horizontal line in it, an L, an H, technically, like for example, you can see what I just did there. I made this horizontal part of the H and this horizontal part of the H go to the vanishing point. That's going to make it look the most realistic. However, I'm not going to be super strict about it. So like if you did an H and you just kind of eyeballed it, like it's not that big of a deal. Right? Same thing with like an L. Oh, hold on. Same thing with like an L. Like if I was doing an L or anything, again, anything with a vertical line, it would do the same thing. So let's say I've got my sign here. Like an L would need to go diagonally, like this. Okay, an L would not go straight across. Okay, because this is going to look weird. Like if you do it like this, that's not right. It needs to go to the vanishing point. Okay. However, I would just experiment with that because it's a little tricky and again, a little advanced. I wouldn't be too hard on yourself about that. The only other way to do like a sign that I've kind of taught before is to do a sign on the top of a building, like coming off. So for that, what you would do is just make like, I'm going to do this without my ruler quick because we're running out of time. But I would want you to do this with a ruler. You would make 4 vertical lines like this. And then you would go to the vanishing point, to the vanishing point. Again, this does not look right because my vanishing point is way lower. So honestly, this should be like all the way down this way. But you know what I'm saying. And then you connect these with vertical lines. And then once again, you could write your thing inside of here. So that would be like making another rectangle, but instead of making it inside of the building, you're making it outside of the building. Again, I didn't use a ruler, so mine looks awful. But you can see like this one. I started up here. I went to the right vanishing point, to the right vanishing point, and then I just did a bunch of vertical lines. Okay, so that's how you would do it above the building versus on the building.